What up, what up? This your boy Chris Cross 304 checking back in. You're listening to the community. This is Friday the 13th on the community. And I know you're saying, wait a minute, it's only May 10th. What are you talking about Friday the 13th, Chris Cross? What I'm talking about is this is our 13th episode, and it is Friday. So here on the community, it is Friday the 13th. Things are getting kind of wacky. 2 Game 7s, a fight on the horizon. And you got the Warriors and the Rockets tonight in Game 6. And I'm telling you right now, the Rockets are winning tonight. They didn't come this far. James Harden didn't do everything he did in the offseason, conditioning himself and training his body to lose a Game 6 at home with no Kevin Durant. It's just not going to happen. Mark my words. The Rockets will win Game 6 tonight. I'm not saying they're going to win Game 7, but that might come down to whether Durant is healthy or not. But now getting to the big news in the NFL. You know, in the third segment, we try to highlight one person, whether it be a player, a coach, or whatever it may be. But the Dolphins signed cornerback Xavier Howard to a 5-year, listen to this, $76.5 million. $51 million coming in the first 3 seasons. And he is by far the highest paid cornerback now, surpassing Josh Norman of the Washington Redskins. And if you're a player in free agency, you got to be looking at the Miami Dolphins because you're going to get a big contract from them. They're setting the tone. They got roughly $100 million in cap space for 2 seasons from now in 2020. They got 12 draft picks coming on the board next year, 10 guaranteed, 2 by compensation. So they got 12 draft picks potentially in 2020. Look out for the Miami Dolphins heading into 2021 and beyond. This is a team that brought in a new coach in Brian Flores, former defensive assistant and co-coordinator for the defense of the New England Patriots. And we talked yesterday, or 2 days ago, when we talked about the Dolphins running back doing the Miami Miracle and dancing afterwards a little bit as the stadium shook. That was his last experience, was Brian Flores in Miami. Well, now he's a Miami Dolphins head coach, and they're making big moves. And I'll tell you now, those are situations, especially in Miami, where people leave the stadium a little bit early, and I'm talking about the Miami Miracle last year because this happened to me as a kid. When the Dolphins are down without the football, people start walking out. We're not used to things like this happening very often. But when I was a kid, I'll never forget, I grew up 1 mile from the Miami Dolphins stadium, Joe Robbie Stadium at the time, baby, Joe Robbie. I know you know that name. But I went to see them play the Redskins. And I can't tell you exactly how it turned out or how the game was won, but all I know is I left early with my mother at the time. She took me to the game, but she wanted to leave early to beat traffic. And we learned a hard lesson. And I learned a hard lesson as a kid. You don't leave the game, especially if it's within 2 touchdowns. Doesn't matter if there's 1 second left, you don't leave. Because anything is basically possible. And I won't forget, we walked all the way down the stadium, way out to the car and way in the back. And as soon as I put my hand on the door to open the car, the stadium began to rumble. For minutes and minutes on end, the ground was shaking. The roar came from Joe Robbie Stadium because the Miami Dolphins, I believe at the time, intercepted a pass at the end of the game down by like 4, 5, 6 points, something like that, and took the interception like 100 yards to the house. So not only was the stadium rumbling, but it was rumbling for a while as a Miami Dolphins player at that time ran the length of the field, and the crowd celebrated after. And all the people like me that walked to their cars and left early went home to see the highlights on ESPN and realized from that point on, you don't ever leave a game until the clock is at 0. And that's what happened to people last year in the Miami Miracle. But Brian Flores, a new coach, that's his last experience in Miami. But now he's a Miami Dolphins head coach. His first head coaching opportunity was with the Patriots roughly for 12, 13 years or more. Has a lot of experience learned from Bill Belichick. And now he's getting his opportunity with the Dolphins. And I can tell you, as a Dolphins fan and talking to others, fins up because everyone's excited about the future of the Miami Dolphins. Will they be good next year? Will they have a better record? That's yet to be determined. But the bottom line is the future is bright for the Miami Dolphins, especially heading into next year's NFL draft and beyond. Anything that happens in 2019 is a bonus. Year, $76.5 million, $51 million guaranteed coming in the next 3 seasons. Just unbelievable and very rare that the Dolphins do something like this. But Brian Flores, head coach, is a defensive coach, and he wants to solidify that defense and build around Xavier Howard. This is your boy Chris Cross 304. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, and happy Friday the 13th here on The Community. Peace.
Bed breaking right now. Should be hand up 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 this is of interest. Hand up bed breaking of interest. And this is of interest. The community is of interest. And this is of interest. The community is of interest. And this is of interest. The community is of interest. And this is of interest. The community.